Myths tell of ancient times, when a new king united a kingdom torn apart by a powerful stick.
The first thing you do in South Park The Fractured But Whole is this. We've played the first 3 hours of the game, and that opening very much sets the tone for what's to follow, which includes this.
God's grace is totally filling me.
This.
They'll do chaos.
And these guys.
Kid, you better not have given me the AIDS.
In case you haven't figured it out by now, this game is not for the easily offended. In fact, I'm willing to guess that even the most stoic and laid-back players will discover something that truly shocks them in the Fractured But Whole's lengthy runtime.
God damn it! I can't put a child in a dark room for 2 minutes without you bastards showing up.
You start the game as the King of Cooper Kingdom, with the characters picking up pretty much where they left off from the end of Stick of Truth. Essentially, you play a glorified tutorial getting to grips with the new grid-based combat system before Cartman shows up in a superhero costume, from the future, in his imagination, and demands that everyone joins his superhero franchise to save South Park, defeat a rival supervillain team, and rescue some cats for money. However, it's clear from the very beginning that this is a far deeper RPG than the Stick of Truth. There's crafting, heaps of quests, classes, subclasses, artifacts, buffs, team play, and a whole bunch of new combat mechanics. Forget all the cartoon trimmings and puerile jokes, this is probably one of the deepest RPGs you'll play this year, yet it remains pleasingly accessible. And so to the new fighting system. It's still turn-based, except this time fights take place on a set of square grids, like a simplified version of XCOM. You have a certain distance your character can move, and then they make an attack, which will hit enemies based in adjacent or further away squares on the grid. You have a specific attack or buff assigned to square, triangle and circle, or your Xbox equivalent, and you can execute them by pressing X. There's also a super attack meter that you can build up by getting hit, which you can boost further by pressing X at the right time. And this unleashes a more powerful action once you activate it. So far, so normal. The combat is fairly varied to start with, and you can switch out attacks once you've unlocked a subclass. But it's unclear whether or not this simplified approach will satisfy throughout the entire game. While we were doing different things towards the end of the preview, fights were getting a little grindy, so the humour and variety of enemies will be a large factor in keeping the Fractured But Whole fresh. One neat little touch is that occasionally, some fights will pause as the kids involved will have to get out of the road for a car to drive past.
Get out of the street, friggin' kids!
They do serve as a humorous reminder that you're actually just playing as a bunch of kids pretending to be superheroes. The side missions we played involved a visit to Mr. Garrison at the school, where he asks your gender and you can choose between male, female or other. And if you select the latter of these, he calls your parents with some concern.
Can you just hang on a minute? I need to call your parents.
Plus, once you get out of school, you're attacked by rednecks, who drunkenly proclaim that they don't like other gendered people around here before smashing you in the face with a bottle of beer.
Get your ass kicked, socialist! Yeah!
Elsewhere, there's a mission involving finding the person who keeps scratching Mr. Marsh's car, and you learn to craft items in the local taco fast food place, courtesy of Morgan Freeman. Yes, that Morgan Freeman.
You be careful out there.
There's also a trip to the church to chat with the vicar, who sends you into the back room where a couple of paedophile priests attempt to rape you. Yup, South Park doesn't pull any punches with its enemies, and other types include Hooters-style girls from the local restaurant's Raisins, and incredibly vanilla by comparison, 6th grade bullies. At one point you're asked to choose your character's kryptonite, because, hey, you're a superhero, and you can select from a variety of enemy types like crab people, vampires, and old people. So, make good choices. South Park, then, is as utterly anarchic and offensive as you'd expect. Yes, the humour is really childish, but that's absolutely the point, and some of the jokes are guaranteed to make you laugh. Maybe guiltily, but still laugh.
Sorry guys, you can't play with us. We're playing superheroes now, and you guys are dorks.
What's most pleasing, however, is the depth of the RPG systems underpinning it all, and the wealth of customization options to keep things fresh. There are also so many pieces of costumes to collect, power-ups to earn, and collectibles to hunt down. You'll be living in this faithful recreation of the cartoon for months to discover it all. The only real concern here is whether or not, as it does in the Stick of Truth, the combat becomes tiresome before the end. For fans, this likely won't matter, as the humour and show references are as strong as ever. For more casual players, there's plenty to get through here, even if the action is unlikely to satisfy as much as other, more hardcore RPGs. But is that really the main draw for a game that starts you on the toilet?
Don't worry, your eyebrows should grow back eventually.
So that's our impressions of South Park after 3 hours with the game. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are suicide bomber children too much? Click the boxes on the left for more content from us, and don't forget to hit that big button in the middle to subscribe for more gaming news, reviews, previews and features right here on GamesRadar Plus.
Can't wait to see you again soon.